if you're watching this and you are in America, Canada, well, if you're not in Australia, then happy Sunday. Um, Today I thought I would jump on at a different time and discuss change. How do you approach change? So, right now in the world, we have I really I really like to try and stay positive, but let's face it. So there's some action happening between US and Iran. I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of that, but there is action happening over there, right? And as a result of that, some friends of mine in America have said petrol's going up to like nearly $5 a litre. In Australia, and hey, I'm going out this afternoon, so it could be different, but at the moment it's around the $2, between $2 and $3 a litre. So that's a change, right? That cost of fuel for the average person is going to hit them in the hip pocket. It's like, oh, I have to get to work. It's now costing me, X amount more. And a lot of people are taking to social media to focus on the negative, like the stress of it. I can't afford this. I've got to keep my job is to be able to go to, to put food on the table and everything. And the cost of living is really tough. What do I like? I'm sick of it. Our government needs to do something, whatever. Like, this is their comments. This is not my comment. That was not my comment. I have to be mindful. Here in Australia, we don't have the level of freedom of speech that other countries have. So that's not my opinion. This is what people are complaining. This is what people are saying. So how do you approach change? How do you handle change in your life, and especially change that is out of your control? Do you get worried? Do you get stressed? Do you get anxious? I know that for me, I can go between it's all good, which is often very, very much an Australian thing. She'll be right, mate, is often very much an Australian thing. But there's other people that will be like, hi. I'm going to be honest, I don't have my glasses on, so I'm going to struggle a little to maybe read, but thank you for saying hi. And everyone else that wants to say hi, say hi. We're talking about change. What do you do? Do you get anxious? Do you get stressed? Welcome. I'm not sure if India is being impacted like Australia is, and the US with everything that's going on, but thank you to everyone saying hi. I really appreciate it. So if you'd like, you can share to me, how do you cope with change? Is it something that you feel anxious and panicked about? I know that, as I said, for me sometimes, because I have autism and ADHD, so often what happens for me is that it's like, if there's a change outside of my control, I worry all the time. Hey, Gabby. Um, I worry. I like, oh my gosh, how can I have money for fuel? Or how can I have money for food? Or what am I going to do? And then I can't sleep. And then I become even more anxious because I'm sleep deprived, things like that. And that's very much like an approach that a lot of people that have autism of some degree will do. And there's this other thing that a lot of us that have autism, not everybody, does, is a little bit of rocking. I'm good, thank you. How are you? A little bit of rocking. So a lot of people that want to cope in a way with change that's outside of their control, and especially if they have autism, will be a little bit of, we call it stemming, in that rocking. So one of the things is that change can be a really powerful tool, but change can also be something that we struggle with. Change can be an opportunity to improve our life and to be to make positive changes, to take back control and say, actually, I've learned that, if I'm really stressed when something happens, I've learned now to relax, to breathe, to be calm. I would love to know, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching the replay, is that how you adapt to change. If you want to share, like, how do you adapt with change? If you're watching this as a replay, then I'd love for you to hit the like button and maybe even subscribe to the channel, because we're going to do more and more topics on this. Sometimes in life, we deal with health issues, we deal with career changes, something might happen in our life that causes us to reassess. Could be a loved one that becomes unwell and we're like, oh, so that requires change. And with that change comes maybe a little bit of grief, maybe a sense of uncertainty. I'm sorry to hear about your dad. Thank you for sharing. So let's touch on a bit of grief. What happens in your life when you lose somebody and you have that sense of grief? That can change your life. Do you take the time to grieve and honor those feelings? Or do you give thanks and celebration for their life, how they lived? Maybe grief comes in a way of a loss of a job, a loss of a child. Grief and loss go together, and in my book that's coming out in May, Empowered Woman, we talk about grief and loss. We talk about celebration. Sometimes also it's okay to give ourselves permission to not change, to take back that power. So often in our health and our well-being, a lot of people will say, you've got to change your diet. You've got to change your attitude. You've got to basically change who you are. And often those people, and get my words out, those people are asking us to change to suit themselves, to make themselves feel more comfortable. Have you ever experienced that? Where someone says, you know what, if you just dress differently, if you just spoke differently, if you did your hair differently, you would be such a better person. So is it okay for other people to tell us who to be? I'd love to know. Have you ever had that experience of where someone has told you, yes, you have to be different? And do you change? I'm curious. Do you take the time to change because someone else told you to? You don't have to. You do not have to change one part of you. You do not have to change any aspect of your life. If you choose not to, take back your power. Give yourself that internal validation of the amazing person that you are. Celebrate who you are. Be passionate, be excitable, be quiet, be an extrovert, be an introvert. Decide who you're going to be. Because change is always going to happen. And sometimes we do have to adapt. Like at the moment with the cost of fuel, the cost of living, we have to make adaptations. That is true. But what if you didn't have to change every day? What if you took back the power and the control in your life and you said, I love who I am. I'm not for everybody, But I love who I am. I love my positive outlook. I love my energy levels. I love the fact that I'm quiet. I love the fact that I know who I am. I don't need to change for anybody. What if you took back your power and said, you know what? If I want to make a change in my life, I'm going to choose that for me. Can you explain diversity? Good question. Could I have more context on that, please? Are you talking about neurodiversity? What diversity? I'm not someone. I will stick to my lane. So, do you mean neurodiversity? Thank you for removing that comment. I actually appreciate that. I'm going to go with neurodiversity because that's me. I'm neurodivergent. So, or diversity in life. Okay, so my mind is going a million miles an hour right now. That's part of my ADHD with that one question. I do need a bit more context. I'd prefer a bit more context. So in life, we are all uniquely who we are. We have our own traits, our own strengths. And one of the things that I've learnt a lot, and we have our ISOARe personality profile, that's free. Once this buffers and uploads, I will put that quiz in the comments. So if you want to do the quiz, you're more than welcome to. But one of the things is in our life is that when we know who we are and when we know our strengths and even at what challenges us, how we face challenges, how we face change, how we embrace life, how we connect and communicate with other people. When we understand that at a really deep core level, it actually often gives us certainty about who we are, confidence to be who we are, and it also gives us the clarity. So it gives us clarity, confidence, and certainty. And often in this world, there is so much content going on all the time about you should live your life this way, or other people come in and tell us how to live our life. But what happens is that we can, and there's TV programs and there's YouTube channels and there's social media and everybody's got an opinion. And then we've got businesses coming along to share with us that, hey, this product will keep you younger and all of that. Thank you very much. This has really made my day so far. Oh, I really appreciate that. And once this buffers, I would love for you to come back and click that like button again and to comment again. I would really appreciate that because we lose the chat and the comments once we finish the live. But the biggest thing is that when we know who we are and we love most of ourselves, because let's face it, we're not going to love all of ourselves, then those ads and those people telling us what we should do, what we should follow, how we should live our life. Here, use this product to stay younger. Use this product to not have as much grey hair. Use this to do this, buy this, do that. All of that. There's so much coming at us all of the time that we're going, oh, I should change. We're basically, there's so much marketing that comes out of us. And nowadays, so many people are just so free to share their opinion of ourselves or about us. Like, someone will not like this video, someone will not like me, and often they feel they need to tell me that. Okay, they're entitled to their opinion. I prefer that they don't unsolicitedly tell me. So when we have a little bit more confidence in ourselves, and this is a step-by-step process, right? Like to create change, it's got to be a choice. When someone, I'll give you a scenario. I'd love for you to think about this for a minute. And if you're watching the replay and you've got to this point so far, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, let's do a little exercise. So I'd love for you to stop and think for a minute. When someone says to you, you have to do this. Insert whatever it is. So it could be you have to lose weight. You have to become fitter. You have to do this. So the conversation could go something along the lines of, hey, Bill, you really have to show up to work on time. Hey, Angela, you really have to get your hair cut. I'm just making up scenarios. I'm just using smaller ones. There's often bigger ones. I don't know about you. I'm not going to speak for you. But I know for me, when the minute someone says, hey, you have to put your dishes in the dishwasher, I'm like, right? Don't tell me what to do. I know what to do. I know it's a really simple thing. So if my boss ever said to me, hey, when I had a job, I have my own business now, but I know when I say to myself, oh, you have to get that job done today, I'm like, hey, would you sort out how would you sort out 2 staff members who won't talk to each other? I know what you mean. How would I talk it? That is a very tough question in the sense of I would need to work with you and your team better on this. So my response to that scenario, broadly, I'm going to be really, really broad, my disclaimer. So for those watching the replay, the question is, how would you sort out 2 staff members who won't talk to each other? Why won't they talk to each other? Now, maybe you've asked them. Maybe they've given you a response. Maybe they haven't. I don't know the scenario. So there's going to be a lot of fluid moving parts to this. But as a business coach or as an empowerment coach, if I came into your business and I worked with you, and I'm happy for you to, reach out to me. The big thing is what you've got to look at is what is going on for these 2 people. Do they need to talk to each other? That is something I would want to know. Possibly you're asking this question, so possibly they will. And I'm loving the comments and feedback, guys. Thanks. But often some people feel, so there could be a lot of things. They simply might not like each other. They simply might not feel the need to talk to each other. They simply might have some feelings going on that they don't want to talk to each other. There are so many things. So you've got to start with, why aren't they talking to each other? What is the value in them speaking to each other? And once you've got the basis of those questions, then you can start to come into, okay, it could be the communication style. So, for example, I am a person that overshares. It's part of my neurodiversity, and I acknowledge that. I speak loudly and get very excited when it's a topic that I love. I become very animated, as you can see. No, I purposely did that. And now I'm going to blush. So when I worked in an open office area, the other part of my neurodiversity, which I didn't know when I had this job, was that sounds all sound very much the same. So you might not be able to hear this, but in the background there is some gardening work going on outside. That is as loud as if you were physically talking to me here now, right? Like the level is the same. I didn't know this when I worked in this office space. So I worked in an open office space, and I'd be on the phone, and the person on the phone would say, can you speak up? And I go, of course. So I would go, so what I need to know, right? So I got louder. Now, also what then happened is the people around me started talking, so I got even louder. So the person on the phone felt like I was shouting at them. Now, as we know, if we work in an open office space, we want to respect everybody else. So there was a staff member in this space, and they didn't particularly, we got on professionally, but we would never socialize. So we kept our conversations to the basics of, have you got that file? Did you get that email? Like that kind of thing. We didn't go beyond that. So if I didn't need to talk to her, I wouldn't. And she was the same. It's just we didn't not like each other, but we had different ways of communicating. We had different styles, and I often came across as really loud. And then I would overshare. I'd go, oh yeah, on the weekend I did this, because I miss the social cues of as a neurodivergent person. When someone said, hey Jack, how was your weekend? I go, oh yeah, it was great. I did this, this and this. You know what? They didn't really care. I missed that. And what I used to do is I'd be wanting to help people so much. So your question, no, I'm not a therapist. I do coaching and empowerment coaching. And I'm just sharing one of my stories. So this is all just conversational. I'm not a therapist, but thank you for asking. So what I did is I started to learn more about me. I started to say, hey, what am I doing? What is my behavior doing? And how is it impacting the people around me? And do I need to change anything? So once again, if you're watching this as a replay and you've got to this point, all of this is conversational and all of this is examples. And we started off by talking, how do you adapt to change? How do you cope with change? So in answer to the question of how would you sort out two staff members who won't talk to each other, you got a lot of digging to do, in the sense of, I don't know the full scenario. And I would need to come in and as a coach and work with you guys. I can't give much more than that outside of my example of my own experience. So one of the things as a neurodivergent person that I do is I jump into things and become hyper focused on them. I remember being told, and I watched I think it was on YouTube, I can't remember now, and it was someone talking about neurodivergent people and how different aspects of communication are lost. And I thought, okay, so how can I improve that? And they talked about how we become hyper fixated on things, and I didn't particularly like that word, fixated. To me, it felt negative, but to other people, that feels strong and powerful. So once again, coming back to the abundance and the beauty of change, and how do you adapt to change? Or do you choose not to change? Do you choose to stay the way life is serving you? It all comes down to what is right for you. And the more you know yourself, the more that you can feel comfortable to be yourself, to feel safe in being yourself. It helps you to answer those questions. Now, if you do need to see a counsellor, then please go ahead and do that. If you do need to see a psychologist, please go and do that. But for me, knowing who I am and knowing that at times I become so hyper focused on topics and learning and growing, and knowing that when I get interrupted in those moments to learn, when I live with other people, I have to be understanding of other people. They're not in the same zone as me. So when you know who you are and it comes to change and choosing whether to react or respond, it's all about what is right for you in a respectful manner that doesn't cause harm to anybody else. So as an empowerment coach, which I've been an empowerment coach for many, many years, I've worked in health and fitness and well-being, and as a neurodivergent person, I've certainly faced a lot of changes and a lot of challenges in my life. And if, somebody finds this valuable, then amazing. But I also say, please, always seek the right help, the right support for you, because your life, it's important. You are important. And I encourage you to be uniquely you in a way that brings you joy and happiness and success, whatever that looks like for you. And sometimes we need to go and get that professional help. And sometimes somebody just reminding us how amazing we are can be enough to keep us going as well. So guys, thank you for those that have watched on the live. I appreciate you. And thank you to those of you that watch this replay. I appreciate you as well. Feel free to like, feel free to subscribe, feel free to watch out. Hoping on Thursdays, Australia time, 1 p.m. Australia time, it might get shifted to 12:30 when we go back in daylight savings, or it might stay at 1 p.m. We're just going to do a connect and chat. Just connecting and celebrating your wins every Thursday. Live is what I want to do. Just connect, say hi, celebrate your wins for the week, and celebrate you. So thank you to those that have watched. My question to you, if you're a latecomer, is think about how you handle change. Do you react? Do you respond? You're all amazing, and I do appreciate you, and I do appreciate the support. Thank you. Before I sign off, because I notice we've still got a few people here in chat, do you have any other questions that I may be able to answer? I say maybe because I don't know what the questions are. If you want to do our quiz, I will put the link in the below. I have studied behavioral psychology, like a base course in behavioral psychology, but I've used it more for my learnings. The quiz is about where you see yourself right now. It helps you to connect in with where you see yourself right now in your life, for you to sit and connect to your own traits because you're answering the questions. Was designed with the input from a psychologist as well, but it's not about psychology testing. It's not that at all. So if you want to do the quiz, you're more than welcome to. The link will be, once this buffers and is up, we'll put the link in the comments. But if you found this of any value at all and you're not subscribed, please do that, and please hit that like button. Really appreciate you guys, but this was more just a chat and a raising awareness on change, because there's so much change going on in the world right now. It could be a good time to stop and reflect. Alrighty. Any final questions before we sign off? For those that have just joined, I am an empowerment coach, and I'm very good at staying within my lane. And I'm more than happy to say to people, yeah, see a psychologist, see a counselor, get that right person in your life to support you. Today was more a conversation around change. It did get diverted a little bit with some of the questions in chat, but I do appreciate that. I've got a couple of people that have just popped in. We're talking about change, so if you've got any questions, my question to you is, how do you face change? Do you respond? Do you react? Do you avoid it? Do you celebrate it? Do you go, nope, I'm fixed in my ways and that's what I'm doing and that's where I'm happy? Because if that's you, great, celebrate that. Do you become stressed and anxious and worried? And who do you have in your life that can support you with that? I write a plan of attack. That's good. And in writing your plan of attack, if you want, are you happy to share a little bit of what that would involve? Like, is it like, so my first point of action is this, my second point of action is this, and is there a reassessment part in your plan of attack. I love it, a plan of attack. You know, something's happened, I've got to change it. This is how I'm going to approach it. Great, I love that. So do you have it from a perspective of, is there a reassessment part in this plan, or is it just step by step, this is what I've got to do? And remembering that for those of you like with us live now, these comments don't go through to the buffer. Yeah, divide up into the up and coming weeks and months. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate that. So I won't be mumbled. And for those that are watching the recording, one of our amazing viewers has said, I write a plan of attack, and then I ask them a question of, is there a review part? How do they do it? Is it step by step? And they've said, yep, divided up into up and coming weeks and months. So if we use, for example, the cost of fuel, because that's impacting most of us around the world, and you need fuel to get to work, then obviously a plan of attack around that is looking at the budget, thinking, okay, how long may this go on for, and then planning for that kind of thing. This is the incredible thing about change, is that when we understand how we face changes and how we approach it, there's a little bit more confidence, I think. And if you don't mind sharing, you know, when you've got your plan of attack and you've divided up into coming weeks and months, I'm going to guess, because I'm not you, but would you be feeling more confident in working with that change? Would you feel like you've got a little more certainty and a little bit more control of a situation that maybe is out of your control? If you want to answer, that's great. If not, we'll just give it a minute or two. I want to say thank you to you guys. I really appreciate all of you. Doing these lives has been a little bit nervous for me. A few people have said, oh, I'll get it set up on the computer and use, I think it's Streamlabs, and use this and use that. And I'm like, yeah, I've got to learn that first. I've got to practice with that. Maybe eventually it'll become more, 100%. I feel more confident. Plus, I run everything. Okay, guys, I'll read it for those watching the recording. So his comment was 100%. I feel more confident. Plus, I run everything by my wife. I love that. So yeah, maybe as part of your plan of attack when facing changes is to run it by your partner, your spouse, whomever they may be. It's always good to have the right support in your corner, right? Like the right people that are there cheering you on. If it's okay with you guys, I might share a little example, because we've just suddenly had a whole lot of people join us. So if you've just joined us, welcome. We're talking about how do you face changes and how do you deal with changes. So for some of us who are neurodivergent, change can be very, very hard. And I lost my train of thought of where I was going with that. Oh, significant, like your partner and things like that. So I've put together, I'm bringing out a book called Empowered Woman. It's coming out on May 8th, right before Mother's Day. And it goes through the different changes in life, and there's so many amazing chapters in this book. One of the things is that with this book, and I decided to put together an Empowered Women membership, and I reached out to a friend of mine this morning, and she's going to be on, she's in the book, and we're going to do a podcast, and it'll all be shared everywhere. And one of my goals is to bring more positivity into this world, to help us connect to our positive energy and our fun and laughter, right? So I reached out to this friend of mine this morning, and I said, hey, I'm going to launch this membership and I'd love your honest opinion on it. And she said, sure. And I told her all about it, and it's got a lot of content. It's incredible value. I'm not going to go into it all now. I don't want to bore you all. But she said, you know what? I wouldn't sign up. And I was like, what? She said, no, I wouldn't sign up. And I went, okay, tell me more. Now, at that point, for me, I could have felt rejected, and in the past I would have felt super rejected by her. But what happened was, in running it by her, in hearing why she wouldn't sign up, I was like, oh my gosh, you're one of the 5%ers. Because about 5 to 10% of the people in this world right now feel so completely fulfilled in their life, they don't need anything else. JK, oh, okay. Thank you. I think that's a compliment. I don't know. So the comment was, you slightly look alike J.K. Rowling's. Okay. I've written a few books. I've written 22 books. Does that help? I don't know. But my point is, if you're just joining us, we'd love you to hit the like button. That would be amazing. So my point is with this is that sometimes running our plan, running our ideas by someone else who's going to give us honest feedback, not just, hey, that sounds like an amazing idea, but really they're thinking, I wouldn't have anything to do with that. That is okay, because not everybody has to be us and do us and be part of our journey, right? Like, not everybody has to agree with what we do for us to continue doing it. So yes, when you have a plan of attack on how you handle change, it's really important, if you can, to run it by someone else just to get a different perspective. If nothing else, you might stick to that plan, like it's being shared. Got a plan of attack. I divide it up into coming weeks and months, just reviewing the comments that have been here, because they weren't my comments, so appreciating that, and just running that through. Yes, I want to do this. Yes, this is perfect. Those kind of things. When we get that input from someone else, we don't have to take it on board. It doesn't have to be what it is. It can be, great, I can now use this in this part. So from my friend telling me I wouldn't do it and why, I went, oh, yes, I can understand. So I reached out to another friend and I said, hey, do you think you or anyone that you know would actually want this membership? And she said, I personally don't need it. One, because I've got a direct line to you, but two, I would highly recommend it to most of my clients. I went, okay, great, we've got another perspective. So when it comes to embracing change or accepting change or facing change, sorry, I get dry lips. I'm aware of what I do and I don't like it, but I have dry lips. One of the things is that we sometimes need support, or we sometimes need the feedback from someone else with our change, with our plan. At the end of the day, come back to what's right for you. Know who you are. Be who you are. Accept who you are. And in the most positive of ways, be uniquely you. Because there is no one else in this world that is you. It's your life. It's your journey. And my goal is to empower people to tap into what is right for them in positive, in love and respect, in dignity and honesty. Empower people to have the life that brings them joy and happiness. And I so appreciate each of you watching, your questions, your comments. If you've watched the replay and you felt some value for it, let us know. I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys. You're all amazing.